Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to edit an article for Young Scientist Journal. So if you've been invited to edit an article, you'll have received an email with a link to a folder like this one. In this folder you'll find four things: some information about the author, the article itself, a marking rubric for the article, and a photo of the author. So if I go ahead and open up this article, you can see that the article is in a Word document, really easy, and we have a marking rubric for this article. So all you have to do is go through each of the sections of the marking grid and give each section a score. So the marking rubric is divided into two core sections: communication and then the scientific and technical content. So each section has some broad categories of whether that section is good or bad or somewhere in between, and a little description of what that section could contain. You can then add a little comment for each section and give it a score. The scores are slightly different depending on the weighting and the relative importance of that section, so that's why the scores are slightly different there. And you can just go through and start making comments. So there's the abstract, the readability and style, graphical presentation, references, which should be in the Chicago style. Then we get to scientific content, introduction, background, literature review, the method, calculations, results. You should actually check the calculations. You should check that the maths does add up if possible. We then have the discussion. Important to note on the discussion, there's two types of articles: original research and a magazine and review article. Slight subtle differences, and you want to make sure that you are following the right guide here. The conclusion, the scope and originality. This one doesn't have any score, but we find it really important to know whether you found the article interesting and whether it's actually adding to science. Because if it's bland and boring and could just be found somewhere else, then we don't really want to publish it. Then we get to the overall score. So you should add up all the previous scores, and that will give you an indication of the article. So a bad article, which is poorly written, maybe is missing sections entirely, should be in between 0 and 40. These articles, we don't really see any opportunity to improve them, to get them to a stage where we could accept it. So those articles are rejected. A borderline article lies between 40 and 60. These articles, they would need a lot of work to get it up to scratch, but it should be possible. But in this case, you would invite your senior subject editor to review the article again, to just double check before it's rejected. If it's a good article, it has good scientific integrity, and the concepts are generally well communicated. Normally, we would have most articles fit within this bracket, and with your help, these articles could be really, really good. Articles in the 80 to 100 category are articles of a professional standard. There are very few errors, and very little could actually be done to improve them. Generally, these types of articles are things that have come through something like the Nuffield Programme or Crest Awards, or have had significant mentorship on the side. So in addition to the marking rubric, you can also add comments directly onto the article by going in here. So in this one, for example, I can say that the axis labels are too small. And I can just add this little comment here for this figure, and you can go through and add comments. So that allows you to provide even more detail than is possible just in these comments boxes. It's important to note that at this stage we're not actually changing any of the text in the article. So you're not actually editing the actual article itself, you're simply reviewing it. So you're not looking for spelling, punctuation, accuracy, grammar and so on. You're providing suggestions and comments to improve the article further before it's published. So once you've reviewed the article, we can then invite the author to make some revisions. So then I can come up here, back into the folder, and click share. So if I go in here, I can find the author's email address in their about section, add their email address in here, make sure that they can edit, and then add a little note saying your article is ready to be, has been reviewed and is now ready for your revisions. The author can then make their revisions, and then you can begin to check for spelling, punctuation, accuracy, grammar once they've notified you of those revisions. Now, at any point that you have any issues with your article, your first point of call should be your senior subject editor. They'll be able to help you with scientific and technical queries, which means that anyone should be able to edit any article. And if you're really stuck, we can assign you a mentor. These are professional experts who know exactly what they're talking about. So there should be really no excuse not to edit an article. So that's the overview of the article review process at Young Scientist Journal. And I will see you in the next video.